Chris, we're back with another episode of Silver Shield Behind the Strike. This week's public release is The Sacrifice. For Silver Shield group members, the members-only release is Modern Crusader. Both releases go live Thursday, August 20th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time and are available for 7 days until Thursday, August 27th at noon Eastern Time. Now, before we get into the artwork, I wanted to follow up on silver itself. So last week you said people already have a lot of silver and should start high grading their stack. For somebody who already owns plenty of generic bullion, what actually makes an ounce worth upgrading into Silver Shield?
When you find a silver coin that actually means something to you other than the boring generic bullion that they make hundreds of millions of. I mean, the United States Silver Eagle, they sold hundreds of millions of them. Canadian Maple Leafs, hundreds of millions of them. There's nothing really, meaningful about it other than that they're beautiful silver coins. But the Silver Shield series that I started 15 years ago sought to bring the greatest truth on eternal silver and create not only beautiful coins, but meaningful coins that help society understand what was going on during these critical 15 years before the dollar collapse happened, and all the factors that went into it, the political intrigue, the financial oligarchy, the military-industrial complex, they all played into some part of the Silver Shield series. And I think that right now is a very good time because the sentiment is very low. I've lost my YouTube channel, which I used to have 173,000 subscribers, as a daily reminder to go out and go buy physical silver and generate larger and larger returns for people to come in this. And now I've been censored and deplatformed into this little teeny hole that I have left here. And the sentiment is down on Silver Shield because I've been able to be silenced. But at some point, I'm going to be proven right on the biggest thing ever, and that silver's going to break through, and that all the work that I put in for 15 years, planting the seeds, getting people to stack on a consistent basis, understanding all that means something to it. And that's where I think, once you get to past the barter silver that you're going to have, and then the raise your ounce count, it's going to come to a point where you get to a point where you said, I have enough, let me get something that actually means something to me, something that I can intrigue my friends and family with and get them silver stacking for the same reasons that I did. So I look to create designs every week to make people come out and say, hey, listen, I know it's a little bit more money, but it's going to a good cause, and this certainly means a lot more and is more rare than any other ones out there. And then the people that are buying these are buying them to store them for their kids and grandchildren. They're not looking to flip them all that easy, so not many of them find their way onto the secondary market on eBay and tend to hold their value better. So I think Silver Shield is a better investment because it goes up faster than silver, and then on the way down, if silver, like we've seen here, silver holds onto its value as silver corrects. But this is the last correction. This is probably the last chance you'll ever get to stacking physical silver in any amount before this hyperinflation happens, because once a hyperinflation happens, you won't have enough money. There will be the whole world will change. It'll be too dangerous to ship silver because it'll be confiscated or stolen. Right now is such a golden period to get rid of all your digital illusions of wealth, all your cryptocurrencies, your gold, your dollars, the money that you have in silver mining stocks. Get into physical silver, and then once you get enough of it, high grade into physical Silver Shield because I think it's going to be the best performing asset of all time.
All right, let's start with the public release, The Sacrifice, continuing the Kingdom of Christ series. Now, there are many moments in the story of Christ you could have chosen, but this coin stays at the cross. Why did you want the moment of sacrifice itself to be the focus?
Jesus Christ is the best person or the greatest person to ever walk earth. I mean, he's the most influential person, at least in my life, and I felt like any design that makes it last for a long time, I think is something that I don't think has been done before. I mean, I don't know if I'm committing idolatry or whatever, but to put Christ on a silver coin to me is the most natural thing, because here he is showing the great sacrifice that he made for all of our sins, that he loved us so much that he gave up his only life here, and then rose from the dead and conquered evil in 3 days. So I wanted to highlight this sacrifice that he did in the Christ is King series. I don't necessarily like the crucifixion in general. I mean, I think the Catholic Church has used it, egregiously. And I would really like to focus more on Christ's life and what he did and why he was crucified. here's a man that committed no sin and yet he was beaten and crucified. Well, he did it because he stopped the banking establishment and ruining the religion out there. So between the Romans and the Jews, they conspired to crucify Christ. And we've been living with this for 2,000 years, living under the same tyranny of debt and death that has reigned since Christ has been crucified. And I want to bring a highlight to this in this coin for this week.
The artwork shows Christ in two ways at once. So you have the full crucifixion in front and a much larger crown with thorns portrait behind it. What does the double image let you say that a single crucifix scene would not?
More of the somberness and of the moment. I wanted to see Christ's face in prayer. He was in constant contact with God, the Creator, through this horrible ordeal that he went through before he died, and I wanted to show that in there and relate it to his crucifixion and his sacrifice that he committed.
The write-up says the cross is transformed from an instrument of shame into an emblem of redemption. How did you want the design to carry that change from suffering to hope without taking away the weight of what actually happened?
I think when you look at what Jesus did, it gives you strength to go through much smaller challenges. We're not facing, maybe not facing the devil the way that Christ did every day, but the battle is out there, and we need to find faith in him and through his message, through his life, through his words, and ultimately through his sacrifice at the very end.
One thing that stands out is that the figure on the cross has no symbol or wordly power anywhere in the scene. In a collection that often talks about resistance and strength, what does this coin say about the kind of strength found in willing sacrifice?
That's a good question. I mean, I think his sacrifice is the greatest sacrifice. I mean, to give your life and you're declared innocent. One of the most formative events in my life happened when I was in the Marine Corps. I went into infantry because I wanted to, do the full Marine Corps experience. And I should have gone into a much higher rank because I was a college graduate, and I should have become an officer and flown helicopters or whatever. But I chose to become an infantry soldier and Marine. And when I went to boot camp, I was the scribe. I was the guy that was, in charge of making sure the squad moved from place to place and kept track of everything. And then when it came time for us to pass some tests of knowledge that the Marines all have to know before they graduate boot camp, they took all like 13 or so guys that failed and put me in charge of making sure that they knew, because I got the highest score, and make sure that they knew, to pass for the next time. And so when the test came, they all passed except for one. And I got out there and I got punished along with that one guy. And I was like, I didn't do anything wrong. He's an idiot for, doing it. And to take that kind of punishment for when you didn't do anything wrong, to me is worse than if you're like guilty. I'm like, oh, I got it. They got me. I'm going to go down. But for me, when I was in the Marines and I was in charge of, making this guy, but I understood that as a leader, if one guy fails, the whole unit fails. So you can't have that failure. I think that when you relate it to what Jesus did against the Romans, against the Jews, against Satan, against, his own followers that betrayed him, and all the people that are suffering out there, and the way that he died, makes it easier for you to go through your own little challenges that you face on a daily basis. And I hope this coin is a reminder. If you buy one of these coins and keep it in your pocket as a daily reminder, that's what a powerful totem that these all become. And I think ultimately the Silver Shield are going to become carry pieces where people are going to carry these coins because they mean something for them, but it's also because they're going to be worth unobtainium. They're going to be worth more than classic cars and pieces of artwork and stuff like that, because they're going to be so rare and so held in such cherished hands that the price of them are going to go up tremendously when all the other assets on Earth collapse. It's a one-way, asymmetrical, non-violent, non-compliant way of destroying everything that you hate, all evil on Earth, through their banking system and deleveraging the paper Ponzi scheme that has happened, and empowering yourself and protecting your friends and family from what I know is going to be an inevitable hyperinflation, where they're going to print unlimited money to keep this Ponzi scheme going, and it's going to chase out after all counterparty risk assets, down to gold, down to silver, and eventually Silver Shield at the very end.
Now let's move to modern Crusader. Last week with Soldier of Christ, we talked about combining Crusader imagery with a modern soldier. This one takes the idea somewhere different because the figure is now fully contemporary. Last week's Soldier of Christ still carried medieval armor. Modern Crusader is a little different. The helmet, the visor, the tactical armor, and weapon are all contemporary, while the cross remains. What changed in this message when the Crusader became fully modern?
That's a good point. You brought it out that the helmets have changed, but I kept like a tunic on them, so you had kind of that like priestly warrior vibe to them. But yeah, again, I'm just exploring this idea of merging Christ Crusader with the modern, modern resistance movement, and that ultimately, I think once you get to the bottom of all these conspiracies, it's all Satan at the end of it. I mean, it's some satanic forces or the satanic banking systems or satanic politics with blackmail and child pedophilia and all sorts of stuff. But ultimately out there, it's some form of evil out there. And what I'm looking to do is to get the good stackers who I know are preppers too. I mean, you don't stack silver without stacking guns and ammo and storable food and water and all the other, bare essentials to get through this. But this idea of merging a Crusader with this is I'm trying to make the imagery of, instead of people going to these cosplay things where they create cartoon characters, but they create now tactical, meaningful, religious warriors that are going to go out there and go save the day when this all falls apart. Because I'm telling you, when the financial system comes to a stop, everybody you think is going to go to work is not going to go to work that day. They're going to stay home and protect their friends and family when the whole system shuts down. And ultimately, it's going to take the individual kings in the neighborhood who did prepare, who did stack, who did armor up, to go out there and make sure that there's still peace on their streets. And I think that this is a great way of showing anybody out there that you're serious about keeping peace. You want to look like a modern Crusader, and I think that's a new image that I'm trying to foment out there.
The write-up calls him a guardian in a fractured world. That word matters because the image is heavily armored. What separates a guardian from an aggressor in a way you want people to read this coin?
I definitely think that this is more of a defense thing. I'm not looking for any violent revolution or anything like that. I think we can all handle this through a silver revolution, ultimately emptying the vaults of the banking system that manipulates the price of physical silver down into the hands of the people that are going to make it worth more than everything. Like, I keep sensing that when silver sells out, it's going to become unobtainium, meaning that there's going to be no value, no money that's going to transact to get any amount of silver on Earth, because they know that the value of it is just going to go up even further and further as a global hyperinflation crack-up boom happens. So that's going to sell out silver, and then it's going to have the people that have it, they're going to be on the other side of this amazing financial shift that has happened, a pole shift that had happened, where they're suddenly wealthy, that this is suddenly worth much more than even gold. And you bought it for, $65 or whatever they're going for right now. And it's suddenly worth more than your mortgage because of the hyperinflation that happens on a global basis. There's going to be no hiding from this, and it's going to be, the whole world is going to go down this road. So I think that people that are stacking Silver Shield are going to become new kings on the other side of a collapsed government, corporations, religions, militaries. They're all going to fall apart, and it's going to be these guys are going to come out and they're going to be kings. They're going to have kingly wealth with kingly responsibilities, and they're going to bring order to their friends and family by paying off the debts of the world with their unobtainium, hyperinflated silver.
Now, this coin is for members only, and I know we touch this every week, but for all the new viewers, how would one be able to obtain the member coin? And you could touch into the public coin as well.
Yeah, you go to ChrisDuaneSilverShieldCoins.com. On there, there's a page called New Release. You can go there. Every week I release 2 new designs on a weekly basis at noon on Thursday. One's available for the public, meaning you go directly to the Golden State Mint website and buy directly from the mint. There's a 4 to 6 week waiting period because we only mint what we sell, so that's the manufacturing time. But we've been doing it for 15 years and we never let anybody down. In fact, we sell so very little of them that they go up in value over time on eBay, more so than any other silver I think you can buy on a consistent weekly basis. There's a Silver Shield Group members coin that's available for only the Silver Shield Group members. And that's just to make it a little bit more scarce, I guess, that the Silver Shield group, for $7 a month, which is not very much, or $77 a year, you get access to the one extra coin that you can get on a weekly basis. And my idea is that these Silver Shield group member coins are usually more controversial ones that are for the more avid silver stacker. And I rely on the Silver Shield group to keep this whole thing going. The reason why I've been able to go on for 15 years is because of the people who have supported the Silver Shield group. I couldn't go out here on a daily basis and put all these images and designs and videos and keep talking this up and fomenting it until it manifests without them. So if you're interested in supporting me, go to ChrisDuane, and you can just wait like 3 or 4 seconds and a little pop-up will come up, and then you can enter your email address in there. And that way you'll get a weekly basis, a reminder of all the different releases that I have, and have the option of choosing if you're going to participate in this week's stacking or not. And my goal is to get you to stack something on a weekly basis because it's difficult to do that, to find the time, the money on a consistent basis. But this is a way of paying yourself, and the highest form of money that you can be paying yourself is in Silver Shield mini mintage.
Chris, thank you again for taking us behind the strike. This week's public release is the Sacrifice from the Kingdom of Christ series. For Silver Shield group members, the members only release is the Modern Crusader. Both releases go live Thursday, August 20th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and are available for only 7 days until Thursday, August 27th at noon Eastern Time. Visit ChrisDuaneSilverShieldCoins.com and open the new release section. Anyone can purchase the Sacrifice during the release window. Silver Shield group members can access Modern Crusader through the members only release section. Chris, thank you again, and thank you everyone for watching and listening. Let us know which part of today's conversation stood out to you, and we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Silver Shield Behind the Strike.
All right, thank you.